Well, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Electrical Blunders. My name is Paul Abnett, your host. Hopefully you're enjoying the series where we're slowly digging into installations that are a little bit questionable, but again, there's a lot of decent installations. We've added a lot of good information. Hopefully we've given good commentary. We haven't said anything bad really about anybody. We're trying to keep it on the knowledge end of the spectrum, and again, adding advice, adding suggestions, pointing out things that probably the owners of the video would probably want you to point out. But today's video is a little bit of an exception. Today we're looking at an installation where a gentleman is running power out to a shed, and they are doing it on the cheap. Okay, they're obviously a DIYer, no electrician. They tell you they can't afford an electrician. Safety is a minimum safety standard. That's what the NEC is all about. Again, just because you can't afford to do something doesn't mean you do it. And somebody gets hurt, you're the one that's going to have to face the wrath of that. So again, I've got a video, fairly short, but it's really just everything that you don't want to do. Now I get it. You say you don't have the money, you don't have this. Well, you could have just run an extension cord out there, and when you're finished doing what you need to do in the shed, roll your extension cord up, okay? Roll it out, roll it back up, roll it out, roll it back up, whatever, okay? Temporary, fine. But the actions in today's video is more like permanent wiring. So let's jump into it. I've got the headphones on so I can give the commentary. Let's get into today's video.
All right, making a little video. I've been wanting to run electricity to my shed for quite some time, but I don't have the money to pay an electrician to do it, nor do I have the money to go purchase the materials, the underground conduit, and the wiring.
Okay, here we go.
Boxes, the switches, all that. So I figured I'm going to do it with stuff I have laying around the house. As you can see, I am the proud owner of a beautiful 1997 Champion mobile home. Standard on all mobile homes, they generally have an outlet underneath the house for your heat tape, which is it's a 2-gang outlet.
It's out there, it's under there, it's for a reason. Okay, it is not for what you're getting ready to do. Just want to make that clear to everybody. I should say the disclaimer that this gentleman did not say is do not do this yourself, okay? If you can't afford an electrician, save up until you can do it right. Otherwise, run an extension cord temporarily while you're working in the shed and then roll it back up when you're done. Do not do what this gentleman's about ready to do.
It only has one plug in it now for the heat tape, which leaves me with one open plug. It's on its own circuit breaker, so I'm not too worried about overloading it. But what I'm gonna do is I took a garden hose. I had a spare garden hose laying around, a 50-foot garden hose, which I figure will work as great underground conduit since it's water.
It's not conduit, it's a garden hose.
Watertight. And I had a spare 100-foot extension cord laying around. So what I did was I cut the one end off the extension cord, and at first I tried to
First of all, when you cut the extension cord off, you totally threw away any type of listing that would even be involved in that extension cord. Just gone. Secondly, a garden hose is not a conduit. Hell, it ain't even a tubing. Is there going to be moisture in it? Absolutely. Every raceway, every conduit, every tubing, everything that's put underground is going to have moisture in it, okay? You got heat running through the conductors. You got outside ambient temperatures. You're going to get condensation. You're going to get moisture. Okay, so you don't even figure in the fact that there are what we call raceway fill requirements when you put a cable inside of a raceway, chapter 9s and the various notes. Throw all that out the window. You just took an extension cord, you cut the end off the damn thing, and now you're sticking it inside of a garden hose because you're too damn cheap to get the right stuff. I got you. All right, so far, I just wanted to set the record straight before we got started. I don't see any big hazard here so far, right? All right, let's move on.
Push the extension cord through the garden hose, which didn't work very well. I probably got about 10 feet in before it started binding up. My second attempt was with some baling wire.
Dude. The flexible, it's a flexible cord. How are you going to push that through? Okay, if you were going to do this anyway, and not that I'm thinking you're too bright at this point. Again, I wasn't going to demean people, but this is just wrong. You could have pushed the fish tape all the way through it and then pulled it back through. Still stupid. But anyway, you should have figured you ain't going to push it through.
It was a little too thin, which ended up not working, but what I tried to do was push the baling wire all the way through the garden hose to fish it out. But what my final effort got, my pastor gave me the idea, and it actually worked,
Oh my God.
was I took some of this baling twine, just cheap nylon
His
twine.
pastor said it was
I
all
tied
right.
a little knot in the end
God
of it,
is not going to
I
judge
used my
whoever
other garden
dies from
hose
this
to
installation
flush
because the
knot
pastor
through.
says it's fine.
It took quite a bit of time, but I ended up getting it through. Then I secured the cut end of the extension cord to the baling twine, and then I pulled it all the way through the garden hose. Now with this garden hose, it actually works out from over there where the outlet comes out from under the house. I have just enough garden hose to come under the trailer, go down under the ground about 8 inches, come all the way over here, and I already brought it up through the under the wall.
Only 8 inches. So for all of you out there, he's not even following the requirements of 300.5. There's a table that says how deep you have to put it to the top of a raceway or a cable assembly or whatever you can put in. He's not even following any of that. He says, shit, I'll just throw it down 8 inches. Again, sorry. Again, the fact that this is shared on YouTube and the fact that some Yahoo out there is going to try to do this is crazy. It's just somebody gets hurt. Okay. He's liable. I'm just saying. You're better off just run the extension cord and roll it back up when you're done.
I took a paddle bit and blew a couple holes
Look at
through
the,
the
got
bottom
the
of the
garden hose coming up through the
wall,
the bottom
and
plate.
through the floor, and the garden hose comes up to about waist level. Just got it tucked in there for now. But once it's all in place, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna silicone the extension cord into the ends of both the hoses to keep it watertight. I'm just gonna rock a power strip up here, something else I had laying around. And I picked up these shop lights for free from a buddy. His dad's place was getting demolished and they were attached to the ceiling. He said I could have whatever I wanted, so I ripped those down. Right now I'm painfully digging a 2-inch wide trench, about 8 inches deep. It's gonna go all the way.
Yeah, I bet it's 8 inches deep.
There, I was originally hoping to be able to just put a slit in the ground and then push the extension cord down in there, or the hose down in there, but that's not gonna work for me. So I'm gonna have a nice line of brown grass going across my yard.
Oh, that's the least of your worries, right? I will tell you something right now. PVC is not expensive. It's not. I get it. The guy must be dirt poor. I get it. This is unsafe to do it. Okay? We cannot use extension cords as permanent wiring. Article 400 tells us that. And incidentally, the size of those conductors in that extension cord probably aren't even equal to the requirement of at least 14 gauge for the minimum for building wiring. So there's a lot of things going on here. He's thinking, crap, I've got an overcurrent device. What do I care? Again, there's certain rules for extension cords and there's certain rules for fixed building wiring. And there's certain rules in Article 400 that says what you cannot do and it's use it as permanent wiring. That's exactly what he's doing. And he's even cut the ends off of it to do that. Okay, so all wrong here. Anybody out there watching, don't do this. Again, it wouldn't cost you that much to put a conduit in the ground. Okay, a PVC Schedule 40 in the ground from point A to point B and be able to achieve this installation rather than do this. And incidentally, he's not 8 inches down. He's probably 6 inches down. He's not following any of the rules anyway under 300.5 for depth of cover requirement. He's just throwing it in the ground. Okay.
All right. Got the entire hose buried finally. Got the dirt and grass put back as much as I could for now. Right now, my beautiful assistant is about to take the garden hose and water all that. So figure getting it wet will help it settle, help it mesh together. On this end, as you can see, I got the garden hose. I took a piece of phone line that was not being used, or some Ethernet cable, not being used from under the house. So I tied the garden hose up so it's off the ground. And then all the extra cable, I kind of just zip tied to it. So it's all gonna stay off the ground. No moisture will be able to get into it. And then I will plug it in right there. But for now, I gotta go and finish wiring the end because I had cut the end of the extension cord off. So
So she went and bought a new a garden hose because the other one had leaks in it. So he figured he'd just use it to sleeve his extension cord in it so she could use her new garden hose to water the yard.
Now I'm going to figure out the length that I want my cord at and reattach this end of the cord. Went ahead and got all the rest of it figured out. So now it's the moment of truth. Plug this in. Right. Like that. Now, moment of truth. I did is I have it come up out of there. Got the two ends put back together. Just use some wire nuts and electrical tape, and still need to finish doing it once I clean
all
out
junctions
the shed.
in a splice box, please.
Reroute it
Even if it's
properly,
using extension cord, splice
power
box.
strip, and there's a light. And
Oh, the luminaire is not even secured. It's going to drop out of the ceiling any minute.
I'll grab one of my other fixtures. All right, upon further inspection, I figured out it was not the fixture or the ballasts, but instead it was this bulb. Had some bent prongs on it because I kind of dropped it when trying to hang it from the ceiling. So, and he said, let there be light. So, and now you can see the entirety of my messy shed, which is 90% car parts and tools and some Christmas stuff. So now I can work out here in the night, cleaning it up. Over and out.
Okay. All right. So look, I get it. Tough times everywhere. We have tough times. The National Electrical Code is a minimum safety standard. I get it. But the message to all of you out there is don't do that. Don't use an extension cord this way. Don't sleeve it in a garden hose this way. Don't put it in the ground the way you did it and splice it the way you did it. It's all wrong. Did it work for you? Yes. That's the neat thing about electricity. It all still tries to work. But the moment that your kids are messing around in that shed or hits those splices that aren't in boxes, or that luminaire that's barely even screwed into the ceiling that's going to fall out, or somebody cuts it in the ground because it's not down deep enough, whatever happens, you're going to be responsible for it. Again, it doesn't cost that much to do it right and code compliant. And we have a minimum safety standard. Again, I'm not hating on the guy. I'm going to give an installation rating of a 0 to 1 because there's nothing about that was compliant with a safety standard. And I'm all about safety, so that's what we're trying to critique here. Don't do that. So again, this is an example of one of those videos we found on the internet. Don't do that. That's crazy stuff. Until next time, stay safe. God bless. God, that was stupid install.